Hello, fellow audio nerds. I'm Steph, and this is Major Hi-Fi. I've been waiting patiently to get my hands on the newest noise-canceling headphone from Beyerdynamic, the Beyerdynamic Lagoon ANC. And finally, here they are, in the flesh, and I got to spend some quality time with them this week. But the biggest question I had about them was, how do they compare to the Sony WH-1000X Mark III? Because those were sort of the best noise-canceling headphones in my opinion up until this point, and so I was curious, how does it compare in terms of the level of noise cancellation, and how does it compare sound-wise? Well, let's go back in time. I'll share with you my first impressions, and then I will meet you right back here for my overall thoughts, and for some thoughts on the comparison between these ones and the Sonys. Alright, here we go. Hey everybody, welcome to my place. So today I have with me the Beyerdynamic Lagoon ANC. So let's see what's inside the box. Alright, so as you'll see here, it's a pretty simple package. First things first, there is a zipping carrying case, protective and can easily slip right into a bag or whatever. We've got a charging USB-C cable, an audio cable, an aux cable, and some documentation here. So let's take a look at the design of these headphones here for a second. So just feeling them, the ear cups feel a little bit heavy, but the headband is pretty light. It feels strong and durable. It is made of kind of this plastic, but it's got these kind of aluminum extenders here. It's kind of reinforced. It's got two layers. Can you see that? Aluminum and plastic here. And it extends. There's some soft coating on the underside of the ear pad. It feels really nice. It's just kind of normal soft foam, but then it's coated in this soft pleather. At the base of the headband, they kind of turn in, so the ear cups can sort of swivel 90 degrees and turn in, and then this yoke kind of attaches to either side of the ear cup and kind of lets those ear cups rock a little bit there. It is pretty flexible, not super flexible, but like good enough, and I think it's going to work well for most head shapes and sizes. It might actually, wow, it's like very sound isolating. I was just going to say, it might actually work best for those with like not super small heads, because I have a small head, and I'm finding that like the smallest size here on the headband is like perfect, but if my head was any smaller, these probably wouldn't work. They'd be a little bit too big. As for the ear cups, they have the same kind of plastic. They actually look very similar to the Sonys in shape. They're a little bit squarer. The Sonys are a little bit more a little bit more like oval shape. These ones are a little square. But at the base of the ear cup, you'll see there's these controls here for the level of noise cancellation, 1 and 2, and off. And then here's just the on-off button, an aux port for listening wired, and then the USB-C charging port. So then finally, the ear pads, yeah, they're really soft. They feel more like memory foam than the padding on the headband. You'll see it takes a little while for them to regain their shape, but they are coated in the same really soft pleather. I really like this. There's a big spot for the ear to sit, and then additionally there's this kind of like more breathable material on the inside, kind of protecting your ear from the ear cup. And it's kind of interesting though, because I don't know, my ear doesn't, maybe like the very edge of my ear touches just slightly on the inside. But I'm just actually really amazed at how sound isolating these are without noise cancellation on at all, because it almost feels like a noise canceling headphone when I just put them on my head. Very, very well done. But check this out. This is the most exciting part, I think so. Alright, I'm going to turn the headphones on. Check it out. Ooh, yeah, they light up. And these, so the inside of these, underneath the ear pad, it lights up and it will give you different kind of status light symbols. So there's a whole chart of them on the Beyerdynamic website of like what the lights mean, but it'll give you battery life and that kind of thing. So it's just kind of a convenient, fun way that you know, the headphones are just kind of, it's just kind of cool, I think. But I am a little bit curious as to how well the connection is made, how easy it is to use. So let's just see here. I'm just gonna grab the phone, and let's see. So I'm just going over to my Bluetooth settings here. Let's see, sliding this button all the way to the Bluetooth label puts it in pairing mode. Let's see, I'm gonna put these on for a second here. Ooh, it says pairing. It's in pairing mode now. and here it is on my device. That was easy. Pairing successful. My headset is connected. Sweet. So yeah, there. I like how the voice is. It kind of guides you in a thorough way. Now this does have the option of connecting via aptX, aptX HD, or AAC or SBC. And I'm just want to see something real quick here. I'm just going into Spotify. Yep. So when I just quickly pressed play right there, it said AAC active, so it tells you what codec it's gonna use. So you can kind of check for yourself if you think you're using aptX or whatever it is. Kind of cool. Now, lastly, there are a couple of features that I do just want to tell you about. Special features that are specific to this headphone or Beyerdynamic in general. One of them is the MIY app. Now, this app actually uses this technology that's made by Mimi Designs, and it's called Mosaic. Now, what Mosaic does is it does sound personalization for the specific way that you hear. So what it does is it asks for the year that you were born, and I wonder if that's like what it's doing with that year. Is it sort of like saying, okay, typically people born in 1980 want to hear a different sound signature than people born in 2000? I don't know. But regardless, what it does is it actually plays test tones in your ears. It does left and right separately, and you kind of tell it when you hear the beep, when you don't hear the beep, and then it personalizes the sound to fit your specific hearing. And Beyerdynamic says, your hearing changes over time, so you want a sound that can change with you. And yeah, that's what these headphones do. And then another thing you can do in the MIY app is you can actually change the sensitivity of the ear cup controls. Now, I kind of want to test those out right now just quickly, because sometimes ear cup controls are not the smoothest things in the world. So, okay. Play, pause, that works. Skip track. You can see right here, it's like really nicely done. And I can go volume up, volume down. Easy. It's very nicely done. But if you find that it's responding too much or not enough, you can change the sensitivity level in the app. Finally, let's check out the noise cancellation here before getting into the listening test. So there are actually two levels of noise cancellation, 1 and 2. I'm just kind of switching between them right now. So yeah, level 2, whoa, level 2 really kind of kicks it up a notch. I'm gonna kind of examine this throughout the week actually. I was realizing that I want to give you an idea, but this is kind of a quiet environment, so it's not a good representation of it. So yeah, I will listen to this and get back to you. But without further ado, let's take a listen to these babies, huh? I'm curious to see how they sound. Wow. I'm very impressed with the low end. It's very clear. I was just listening to the song A Bigger Paper Bag by Father John Misty, and the kick drums, the toms, and the bass guitar had great separation from each other. They definitely had a feeling of bigness and a feeling of warmth, but the separation was great, and it really didn't feel cloudy at all. It was really, really clear sounding, and still punchy to really drive home, that feeling of the low end. All right, yeah. The mid range is great. I was just listening to the song "Sweet Spot" by Kim Petras, and the bass synth in the song sounds forward and big. Really kind of contributes even greater to the groove because it's just got this really nice energy to it. And then in the verse, there's sort of this dark kind of phasing, slow arpeggiating synth thing, and yeah, it sounded really full, harmonically complex. And same thing with in the verses, there's this other synth that's going on that kind of moves a bit, and that synth really presently. There's definitely this high mid presence to these headphones, and as a result, too, Kim's voice sounded very presently intimate in the mix. Very clean, very clear, lots of clarity, and I was very impressed too at the level of separation in the mid range. A very interesting high end. It definitely has a lot of detail to it. I was just listening to the song "Stuff" by Miles Davis, and what I found with the cymbals in that song is that they had this kind of accented feeling of attack to them, but they also kind of had this, it's kind of hard to describe, like a feeling of dryness, for lack of better words. Like the sustain was a little bit less held out. I definitely still got character from it. There was still a feeling of harmonic complexity to it, but that sustain felt a little bit smaller, drier somehow. And then additionally, there's kind of sort of this open and closed hi-hat pattern that's going on in the song, and that sounded really nice and chunky, felt really good. So yeah, a very interesting high end that I'm looking forward to examining closer. Wow, I am super impressed with the soundstage on these, especially for a pair of noise canceling headphones. Right now, I'm on noise cancellation level 2, so it is like the strongest noise cancellation. I'm extremely impressed because what I'm finding is that, yeah, I was just listening to the song "Good Life" by Sammy Ray, and for example, the vocal sounds really intimate, and so do the electric guitars, which are panned out wide, and those two have great separation from each other. However, but all of them feel really intimate, but they contrast very strongly with the farther off keys, with the drums, which are further off, with the horns, which the room sound and reverbs come through really well with this, which accentuates it. But overall, there is a sense of spaciousness that I do not get from other headphones, and other noise canceling headphones, in other words. There is like, when you just put these on with the noise cancellation, there is sort of this like narrowness that happens, but I don't know how they did the depth. It's really well done. But anyway, I'm definitely going to keep listening to these and examining the noise cancellation for you. And yeah, I will meet you back at the Major Hi-Fi office with my overall thoughts. All right, here we go. Overall, in regard to the noise cancellation with the Lagoon, the level 1 noise cancellation, there are 2 levels by the way, level 1 was really good at kind of canceling out more static noises like fans and rumbles, train sounds and airplane engines, that kind of thing. It was a little bit of a lighter noise cancellation than level 2, which really blocks all those things out, but also does a better job at blocking out voices. I was super impressed with its ability to block out voices because that's something that noise cancellation for me wasn't really doing much of until the Sony came around. Now these compared to the Sonys definitely felt stronger. I could hear a little bit more in the world around me with these on. That said, I was still very impressed with its level of noise cancellation because it was strong but didn't make me feel nauseous basically. But one thing I did notice with this noise cancellation is there's a little bit of that white noise sound, this kind of like this thing that's not audible at all really when you're listening to music, but you can just kind of hear it when noise cancellation is on and there's no music going on. So it's something worth considering. Overall, the low frequencies of the Beyerdynamic Lagoon ANC were absolutely fantastic. They had a great sense of punchiness and clarity to them, and there was a few boosts that I heard right around 30 hertz and right around 60 hertz, which kind of gives it this extra sense of depth and just kind of this deep power going on. Now, it had a feeling of bigness for sure, the low frequencies, but they didn't feel cloudy at all, and that's what I was most impressed by. When I listened side by side with the Sonys, the low frequencies of these really blew the Sonys away. It was just a lot clearer sounding, a lot cleaner, but still just as punchy. Now, the mid-range of the Beyerdynamic Lagoon ANC really had this kind of smiley face shape to it. Basically, there's emphasis in the low mids, and this gives a lot of power and solidity to bass guitars, cellos, low keys, really kind of gave a feeling of thickness to the headphones. Then there was another boost in the upper mids, right around 4 to 5K to my ear, and what that does is provide this sense of just articulation, this feeling of, I don't know, just overall kind of presence. But then right around what sounded to me like around 600 hertz or so, there seemed to be a little bit of a dip. Now this dip didn't really make it feel hollow at all, actually. It wasn't hollow at all. Really what that dip did was just kind of create a feeling of separation in the mid-range. Now compared to the Sonys felt a bit thicker. However, these ones had better separation and just better differentiation between the instruments in the mid-range. Now as for the high frequencies of the Beyerdynamic Lagoon ANC, kind of the whole high-frequency response had emphasis to it in some way or another. I felt particular emphasis in the lower treble, which really created a feeling of articulation, presence, just kind of a more like snappy attack sound to the headphones. Then I heard another boost in the upper octave, around like 11, 12 kilohertz to my ear. And this just created a nice sense of lift. It kind of gave this just, I don't know, this extra prettiness to mixes as a whole. It didn't really come across as airy to my ear. Although when I did take the noise cancellation off, then it kind of sounded airy to me. So I wonder if there's something in the noise cancellation that's kind of preventing that from happening. So it didn't sound airy, but it did have a lift to it. And then finally, there was a little bit of a cut right around what sounded to me like 10 kilohertz. And what that did is it sort of created that feeling of dryness I described, that feeling that the sustain of cymbals, for example, was a little bit quieter in the mix. It created a nice sense of separation between instruments that were more in the lower treble, between those and then ones that had more like ultra high frequency information. So it's kind of an interesting high end, and compared to the Sony, it just had more high end in general. When I listened side by side, it just seems like there was way more detail and nuance to the high frequencies in these headphones. Finally, as for the soundstage of the Beyerdynamic Lagoon ANC, it just was really, really well done, and it was kind of the most impressive part of the headphones to me, because usually noise-canceling headphones really, really suck the life out of the soundstage of a mix, but these actually were able to sort of maintain it. And what I mean by that is the feeling of depth, for example. The presence in the high mids kind of gave intimacy to vocals and things with high mid information, but they contrasted so well from things further back in space, and I could really feel that sense of space with these headphones, way more than usual for noise-canceling headphone. And likewise, the feeling of width just came across in a really powerful way. The middle definitely had this strong phantom center, and it really centered around that low, mid, low frequency energy. However, because of that solidity, then instruments panned out wide, just had great separation and nuance between other areas of panning, and also were able to move around without kind of making the mix feel floppy or anything like that. And, you know, finally, as for the feeling of height, there was a sense of nuance in the height. It didn't feel expansive really in the same way that I got just like lots of nice detail from the depth and width. However, that kind of feeling of just like more precision and a little bit more extension came when I turned the noise cancellation off. So they're actually really nice headphones once you turn that noise cancellation off, and you can get a little bit more out of them anyway. But compared to the Sonys, this soundstage was just much more realistic and much more lively sounding. It really brought a sense of life to the music that I didn't quite get from the Sonys. I mean, the Sonys are really solid, but this just did something different. There's better separation and more life. Overall, the Beyerdynamic Lagoon ANC is one of the clearest sounding noise-canceling headphones that I've heard, and it just really had a nice sense of detail that you don't usually get with a noise-canceling headphone. I particularly liked the headphones for rock, hip-hop, and singer-songwriter music, and the reason is that there's a nice strong low end, really punchy, but also a very clear vocal, so it's nice and articulate. Compared to the Sonys, the sound on this is definitely clearer and also just kind of feels punchier overall. However, the Sonys did have a stronger noise cancellation, but overall the noise cancellation on these is still pretty strong. It's definitely going to be heavier, more quiet than a Sennheiser or something like that, somewhere in between the Sennheiser and the Sonys. Thank you so much for watching. For another perspective on the Beyerdynamic Lagoon ANC, check out the link down below to my colleague's review of the same headphones. If you like this review, please give it a thumbs up, and for more videos like this, be sure to subscribe. Alright, I will see you next time. Bye.